RJ Harvey season is upon us, and the doubters are going to scatter like cockroaches. They're already starting to. People are getting on the train. Well, there's no more room. This train is full. We've been conducting it from the beginning, and there's no more room. We've got video evidence of this guy looking like a straight up baller in practice. Take a look at the man, how fast he looks, how good he looks. Fantastic speed, cutting ability, quads like Saquon Barkley. The man looks unbelievably shifty, speedy, quick feet. Harvey season's upon us. We're doing it live. Marvin Harrison Jr. bulk it up. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks. Live whenever Harvey's just ripping him off in practice. Look at the footwork. He's so elusive and quick. Guys, this isn't your typical running back. This isn't a guy that... This is a full-speed train wreck, a wrecking ball. And he looks so much like Alvin Kamara. If you put Alvin Kamara's jersey on this kid, you would have no clue that this is an Alvin Kamara. In fact, laterally, sometimes I feel like he's quicker or he's going to be quicker. Harvey is going to mother
to Jupiter.
We've got him on, I think, the Mars man list, but we probably need to move him.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
Or is he on the Saturn man?
The Saturn men.
He's on Saturn.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Look, it has to be done. It is what it is. Not everybody gets to play in Jupiter, but Harvey's heading over there. I'm sorry, Harvey. We're moving you, pal. We're moving you. Let's put him over there right now. Harvey, you're now a Jupiter man.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
There are 7 seats on the Jupiter man. I don't know if I'll add another Saturn man, though, because I want to keep these lists as small as possible, but there you go, pal. Look, everything that we've said about this kid just gets more and more, obvious. You know what I mean? You're getting him in round 7, round 6, day 1 of the Underdog Mania release when, all the landing spots were divvied out. He was going 7, round 6. He's going at the 4 or 5 turn. He's going to become a staple inside the 4th round, and there's nothing wrong with that. The sky's the limit from round 4. I hope he doesn't climb to round 3. I'm glad we all took advantage of his round 6, 7 value as long as we could on Underdog. Those are part of the W's that I think you get when you consume early the Fantasy Football Show content, and you don't come in here in June and July and August and try and play catch-up. If you're playing best ball, you're smashing the hell out of this kid's value over and over and over. And even when it climbs, you're still, going all in. It's like when you're investing in a stock and the stock goes up a lot, doesn't mean you get out. Sometimes you'll put more down on the stock because it's just going to continue to rise. This is going to be a top 5 to 10 running back, top 4 to 7 potential running back. This could be, dare I say, and I don't mean this with any disrespect because I love Genty, but he could be the number 1 rookie running back during this rookie season. I'm not saying he'll have necessarily the better career than Genty, but there is a world where this offense in Denver is so potently friendly to this kid that he ends up having a better overall fantasy football season. He could finish as the number 1 rookie running back. It's similar to the Neighbors outscoring Marv. We still love Marv. We're going to talk about Marv in a minute, but or BTJ being better than Neighbors, that's kind of a better example because Marv kind of had a stutter step, but Neighbors didn't. So Neighbors finishes as wide receiver 6 and BTJ's 4. This is kind of the BTJ Neighbors situation, quite possibly. So, I'm not saying that I'm going to bet on that or bank on Genty getting outscored by Harvey. I'm just merely saying don't be shocked if that happens. And the cost of entry on Genty at number 8, 9 overall is so high that you could argue the better value is Harvey in your grandma league in the round 5-6 territory. Look, he's going at 4-5. He's going at 4-5 right now in baller leagues, in best ball mania, in shark environments, okay? Shark infested environments where people are consuming fantasy football content 365. And if you go into your grandma league tomorrow, I guarantee you I'm getting DM Smitty. I got Harvey at 6.7. No one even knew or who he was. Like, you're going to have those environments, and you need to take full advantage of that. And how do you know the difference? How do you know when to do something, to the effect of like waiting versus, jumping the gun? I would say you got to just look at your pre-rank list. If you're drafting on ESPN and the suggested rank, you're on the clock, has Harvey a 2 scroll down type of situation. He's going like 14 picks and you're picking in 8 more. Like, that's when you say to yourself, I can punt this a little bit, take advantage and grab a Deebo Samuel, an extra Deebo Samuel, or grab Patrick Mahomes right here. And then a little bit further down, or Rashee Rice. And a little bit further down, I will take Harvey and still, clobber everybody. You got to use your own judgment on whether you can push the ADP. Don't push the ADP to the point where he's going right where your next pick is. Take him earlier if you need to. Harvey's going to explode. Harvey's going to cook.
Let him cook.
Harvey is and has been. This is not new. This is not jumping on the bandwagon because people see this video clip out there today. It's on my Instagram, by the way. If you want to go over to my IG and check it out, just head over to the Fantasy Football Show on IG. But I've got this over there if you want to watch it till your heart's content. But this isn't triggering anything for us. This is just a reminder of greatness, of how quick, how Alvin Kamara-like this kid is. That's all that is. And he's been on the Supernova list when it was bold and crazy. When I put Harvey on this list, I had a lot of eyebrows raised. Like, Harvey? You're putting Harvey? A 24-year-old rookie who we'll talk about his dynasty value in 1 second. Harvey? You put Harvey on the very sacred 8-spot list of supernovas?
There are handfuls of Saturn, Mars, and Moon men, but only 8 can be supernovas. I give you the 8 best picks in fantasy football.
They are the 8 supernovas. They are the 8 supernovas. The hateful 8 supernovas. I'm looking at the 8 supernovas. The magnificent 8.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Shuttle's cleared the tower for sure. It absolutely has. And then, of course, I don't know. 44 says, I followed his career closely in college. He was a stud for sure, but he was the 4th best running back in this class for me. I don't think you followed his career then, my boy. I don't think you followed it at all. But appreciate you being here, but on your way.
Take a big lap.
Get to running, pal. We'll see you in about 2 or 3 minutes. Take a 4th best friend. Okay, so, we got another one. Where was it? It was, Ian, come on, bro. You've taken enough laps over the years. What are you doing to yourself? Will Estime take goal line touches, though? Tell me you have Estime without telling me you have Estime on like 4 rosters. Why does 1 or 2 people per show always say, but what about Estime? What about him? What about McLaughlin? Shouldn't Estime be more worried about McLaughlin taking his backup role than anything else? Like, what's Estime have to do with anything? A guy had all year to prove it. And he did it. Wow. I don't know. That's like someone coming out and saying, what about, What about Zamir White coming back and taking Genty's job? That is very equivalent. Don't act like that's different. Oh, but that's Genty. No. You don't understand what you're looking at right here. If you think that is not a comparable, relatable question to throw back at that question, Estime, what are we talking about here? Estime. Who is Estime even going to be on the team? We'll find out. I don't think there's room. I think maybe McLaughlin carries his water bottle. Harvey's a little better. When Harvey says, get me a coffee, he estimates he's going to take a little longer than McLaughlin. Okay, so totally
On the rise.
everybody's going to be kind of on top of this situation a little bit more than you like. We took a great advantage of everybody up to this point. I think he's going to start climbing into the fourth round on the regular pretty much everywhere you go. So expect to pay a little bit more than you wanted, but it's still totally worth every single dime because this guy is going to be running all over the place. He will be one of the most electric running backs in the National Football League. His lateral ability, his quicks, his hands. You've already had his coach tell you that they're going to install so many receiving packages and such for this kid to be a receiving threat like Alvin Kamara. And he says that, in college they don't play the running back the same way they do in the pros. And they're designing, not just going to run him out in the flat and give him reception work. They're going to design plays for it. He's going to be a 3-down back, something that Sean Payton has said over and over, something the staff has said over and over, and something you've heard your boys say over and over. He is one of the most 3-down back ready rushers in this class. Him and Genty are completely getting all the work. Judkins is sharing his role, not just the PPR work. He's sharing his role. Judkins is in a more running back by committee than people think. Caleb Johnson is sharing all of his role with Warren. Warren's going to be the PPR guy. So, even when we look at a guy like Henderson, who's currently sharing his role in a similar fashion as those two guys, he will take over because he's the best pass blocking back in the national or in the rookie class and will become one of the best pass blocking backs in the National Football League immediately. He'll be a top 5 pass blocking running back, and that gets you on the field 3-down consideration immediately. So Henderson's probably in a much better non-running back by committee situation by weeks 2, 3, 4 than Judkins or Caleb Johnson. And Genty and Harvey are the only 3-down workhorses right out of the gate. So it's wild to me when someone says something like Judkins is going to be, how is Judkins going to be better than Harvey when he's only getting the first and second down work? How is Caleb Johnson going to outrush Harvey when he's one-dimensional? So wild to me how people overlook situations. And then when you look at this situation, the situation's glorious, but the talent is just as good. It's like double stamping a triple stamp. All right, so Harvey. Whoa. Sorry about that. BBQ old super chat. My screen's going nuts here. Harvey, Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty approved.
So Harvey overrated, confirmed from Brandon. True, Harvey might get you some double TDs along the way. What do you mean he's overrated, confirmed? Like where do you even get that, bro? Brandon, is this Brandon from last night? Is this Brandon from last night that was hating on everything I said? Is that all you do is sit there, no matter what is said, you just wait and try and troll and pounce on it? Confirmed that Harvey's overrated? Tell me you don't know ball without telling me you don't know ball, bro. What are we doing back there? Luis, appreciate you, says Knicks, Harvey, Ingram stack. I like it, bro. I think it's a really, really good stack for sure. Knicks is going to probably have a top 7 quarterback season. Maybe you could call it top 5 to 7. There's no better quarterback past Mahomes and the big guns, and I do believe and consider Mahomes and the big guns, for those that don't know. Lewis, this is a great stack. Knicks is the best top 5 capable quarterback outside of the top 5, big, guns. This is a guy, him and Kyler are probably the most upside type players you could find after Mahomes is off the board in round 5, 6, 7. Depends on where you draft. Great question. And yes, Knicks is going to continue to ball. Let's go over to Marv and talk a little bit about Marvin Harrison Jr., who is a phenom that's misunderstood, misjudged. People are going to be very, very down on this kid because he didn't deliver what he was supposed to deliver last year. And I get it. I understand it. It makes sense. I don't hate people that are scared Scotties, but this guy put on some massive LBs and gains. Look at this. He's out there talking about it. They're saying, did you do this on purpose? He said it kind of happened naturally. He was eating healthy foods, but he was eating healthy foods. He was putting on the LBs. He lifts every day. He runs. He's in shape. Obviously, this isn't fat at all. So if anybody says it's going to slow him down, you're just jealous that he put on the gains like that and is ripped. Or you're just jealous because you don't have any shares of Marvin Harrison Jr. Or you're just a pessimistic Peter or a scared Scotty. Well, scared money don't make money. And Marvin Harrison Jr. still had an 808 touchdown season. That is a pretty darn good year. The only reason it sounds and stings so badly is because we expected 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns, which in hindsight, I don't regret because things happen the way they happen. You can't control certain things. And it doesn't make me scared to rank rookies or say, oh, Genty could disappoint or Harvey could disappoint or we're going to be so disappointed in Travis Hunter or anything like that. His situation has nothing to do with those other rookie situations. Just like last night when we had that joke of a debate, you can even call it that. It was actually a one-sided debate because the other side got smashed into a million pieces. But when the guy called in and tried to say, well, because Stroud struggled, JD5's going to struggle. That is the laziest kind of fantasy football take I've ever heard in my life. Just like it's lazy to suggest that MHJ can't bounce back or to suggest because of MHJ's this disappointing rookie year, we got to be careful about investing in rookies. Rookies rule fantasy. My favorite players, my supernova list are rookies. I am the biggest rookie connoisseur. Not all of them. You don't hear me talking up Ted McMillan. You don't hear me talking up Matthew Golden. I'm very selective as to what rookies I believe will rule the world, but the rookie running back population alone will replenish and refuel the fantasy football running back position to the tune of maybe 5 of them being top 12 running backs this year and beyond. 4 or 5 of this incoming rookie running back class will fuel and replace and absolutely fill the top 12 running backs in fantasy football. I wouldn't be shocked if 4 of them were top 10. I won't be shocked if 2 of them were top 7. This running back stable, this rookie running back stable is so good, we will have a replenished running back room in fantasy football because of it. And there is Travis Hunter. There is Ibuka. There are Luther Burdens in this wide receiver class that can still be top 25 wide receivers, but we won't see as much of a infiltration of rookies in the wide receiver room. They'll be more so outside of the top 10. The top 10 is kind of full. We've taken resumes. We accepted all the job opportunities. Last year was the same thing I'm describing with rookie running backs for this rookie running back class and how they infiltrate the running back stable in fantasy and replace all these older dogs. And it's going to all be fresh. Young rookie running backs consuming the top 10 and 12. It's already the same thing in receiving context. The receivers from last year replaced all the old dogs, and now we have rookies and sophomores that rule the world. And that's why on thefantasyfootballshow.com, a lot of people have copied this coined ranking and process that I have, where I have super rookie rankings, and in my super rookie rankings right here on thefantasyfootballshow.com, link in description, you can get rookies and sophomores only, meaning when the sophomores graduate to juniors, they get pulled from the rankings, and then the rookies graduate to sophomores and they stay on the rankings, and the incoming rookies go. I cycle it through. It's a great way to get your dynasty fix and to really know the youth movement in the National Football League and to rank the youth-based players only. Even though it's hard, and you can start to use it now because there's a rookies and sophomores draft on Underdog, promo code Smitty, Underdog Fantasy, where you can, let me drop that link in the live chat, where you can draft right now and get your fix Smash that right there. And also smash this thefantasyfootballshow.com link. Again, this link's in the description as well, but you can get your year-round rankings, fantasy football advice, and everything all here at thefantasyfootballshow.com. But I love looking at these rankings. They're the most sought-after rankings on the site. I've been doing this since 2002, 2003. I got in the business and created the trade calculator because I looked around and I couldn't find one. And I said, no trade calculator in the industry? What is going on here? I'm a connoisseur. I'm like you, looking for content, and I couldn't find it. So I said, I'll do it myself.
You've just been Smitty approved.
So, very excited about Marv's upcoming season. And if this doesn't excite you, if you don't see this kid as being a force to be reckoned with, if you don't think that him and Kyler are figuring it out, then you haven't followed my channel where I've updated you on this monster's weight gain. This is not something that is new today, but it's going viral about how massive he looks in this press conference. But also, I've talked about how he and Kyler and the coaching staff all agreed and are in unison saying that things just didn't click for Marv until about a little bit past midway through the season. And it happens. But 8 TDs is really, really good for a rookie receiver. So at the end of the day, even though the 800 yards wasn't what we wanted, Kyler and Marv didn't quite click. They're very, very close this offseason. He's got an amazing attitude. The rapport is building, so Kyler will be leaning upon him. And if anybody remembers Kyler Murray during his more impressive years, he is one of, if not the best quarterback in the National Football League at throwing outside the pocket while he's scrambling. Part of that is he had to learn how to perfect that because he can't see over his offensive line. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks can't. Brock Purdy's even said he can't see over his offensive line, and the visibility is like 20%. You got to kind of throw to spots. And so Kyler, being shorter than Brock, has to scramble outside all the time. And so I think they do a lot more of that this year. And this receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr., should become one of the better receivers in the National Football League at catching the ball while his quarterback is outside the pocket. And there's no better quarterback outside the pocket than Kyler Murray because it's the only way he can play. So hopefully we get a lot more of that in 2025. I think we will. Hopefully we get, and this is a tall, lanky wide receiver, pretty easy to see him downfield. And so if you have trouble like Kyler seeing over the line, then it does become an easy target. And if they're on the same page, if the play calling is going to allow his route tree to expand, then you're going to see Marv at and around the line of scrimmage more versus just running these like go routes. And there was a couple last year where he was wide open running down the field, throwing his arm up, and Kyler couldn't see him. And there was a play where he had literally nobody within the camera shot of about 30 yards. It was Marv just running downfield, throwing his arm up, and Kyler didn't see him. It would have been a 60-yard touchdown, 70-yard touchdown on at least two different occasions. So hopefully all this gets worked out. They've been working together. Kyler's very motivated. Kyler studied every single incoming rookie, so he knew who was good, who was bad. Defense, offense didn't matter. And he's studying film now. He's talking about the game differently. Kyler's motivated. I'm very excited about what Kyler will potentially do, what kind of leap he's going to make this year. And I've been very critical of Kyler over the years. So this is a new situation that I'm witnessing with Kyler that is worth observing, reacting, and talking about. This is not any sort of fandom at all. You guys know I don't bring Cardinal fandom to this show at all. In fact, I'm more critical about the Cardinals than I'm ever positive, but I'm feeling very, very good about Marvin Harrison Jr. And not to mention he's going in the third round. Last year as a rookie, he went in the top 11 to 14 overall. So you're paying a very low premium for Marvin Harrison Jr., who can still give you the exact output you expected as a rookie in the 11 to 14 overall player range. We're talking top 7 wide receiver, guarantee in your mind by drafting him at 11, 12, 13. You're taking a guy you expect to be top 5 to 7 in wide receivers. So drafting him in the third round, you're getting a player outside of the top 10, borderline wide receiver 1. Honestly, if you're going running back, wide receiver, he becomes your wide receiver 1, but it's a poorer version. A JSN and an MHJ are those sleeping giant wide receiver 1s that you grab in round 3 if you want to grab a wide receiver 1 on the low and make people think your wide receiver room is lacking when MHJ and JSN could both be top 7 wide receivers this year. So very excited about MHJ. I think this year is going to be the year. I think RJ Harvey's going to the moon. I think these are two of the best players to talk about right now in fantasy because they go outside of the top 2 rounds. These are players that go in round 3 and round 4, or round 3 and round 5. And in Harvey's case, he goes in round 5, 6 in your grandma leagues. So these are 2 potential league winners because the cost of entry is so much later and the upside is massive. And now the phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in to the Addict.shop phone line. Your boy is here to assist, and we'll answer questions. Hopefully, you guys, when you call in, you have something to say about these 2 players or their situations, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah, get excited. What about Garrett Wilson? We love Garrett Wilson, bro. Fields looks phenomenal right now. Fields turned DJ Moore into a top 5 wide receiver. What do people think he's going to do with Garrett Wilson, who he played with in college? These are teammates from college. People don't talk about that enough. To come over to the New York Jets and play with his former wide receiver in college, the rapport is already baked in. Fields is turning Garrett Wilson into a top 5 to 10 wide receiver. Now, not everybody's going to be able to be top 5. I get it. Hit me with the phone line. Here we go. I guess I had to reboot it. Sorry. Johnny, what is up? You're live. Johnny? All right. We may have to switch over to the alternate phone situation setup. 1 second, Johnny. Every once in a while, this damn thing needs to be rebooted. All right. Now, Johnny, I can hear you now. Sorry about that. What can I do for you, Johnny? You're live.
All right. So I said I'm calling it. I put a comment down. I think MHJ does 1,100 yards minimum, 10 touchdowns minimum. I feel that way this year.
Yeah, I mean,
That's one thing.
As a rookie, having 808 as a rookie, yeah, I see no reason why he can't have at least 1,000 to 12. It's gonna be somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200. It's a wide range because a lot of factors involved. But to have 8 TDs as a rookie, yeah, I don't see how he doesn't have 10 TDs. He's a touchdown specialist. So his worst case scenario is something around the the 1,000 to 1,100 yards, probably 80, maybe 80 to 90 receptions. That is his worst possible scenario, unless he gets hurt or something that we can't control. And he's not an injury-prone player by any means, so there's no reason to expect that. But this is a pretty damn good season, and it earns you your third-round value. If you get 1,010 with 80 receptions, that's like his floor. And I believe it's his floor. His floor. His ceiling would be like 1,300 and 13 TDs and 90 to 100 receptions. That would be like his ceiling. But to get 1,010 is his floor. And at third round value, that's a home run.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at double-digit touchdowns last year. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 receivers that did it, and so 7. That's it. So there's 10, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 17. So saying that he'll have 10 or more, that puts him in, top 8 from last year of receivers this year.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And as far as Harvey goes, I think if we didn't have Genty, we might be calling Harvey a generational talent based on the numbers.
You know why you wouldn't though? You know why that wouldn't? I'm going to disagree with you on that, because this 24 age thing, because he's 24 years old, it's going to scare enough non-football people away. I say that because those are people looking deeper into than the grandma, but I'm just saying, the people that are so bent out of shape out of this 24 age season, especially even from like a redraft perspective, it's weird. People are like, he's too old, there's something wrong here. It leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. I don't know that it would. I think there would be a lot of people on board like us that see him for what he is, but there's still going to be enough doubters that they question why he's that old. They don't like it. It doesn't sit well. They're so dynasty mindset oriented that it affects their redraft thinking. So I don't know. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that people might feel that way and be on board with us, but I think you'd have a lot of doubters still. I think that this would be a running back that wouldn't climb to the 1 spot or anything, because he's having a problem climbing to the 2 spot for people, bro. People have Hampton higher, and that's fine, and I get that, and I like Hampton too. People have Judkins more so higher on Harvey at times than even, Harvey overtaking Hampton. So I don't know that it would mess with much, to be honest with you. I think it's completely separate. But I hear what you're saying, and I hear what you're trying to say. And I agree with your sentiment that this guy is so special. It's possible that Genty hype is making people not see as much of his film, not talk about him as much. I get it. But he's having a tough time overtaking Hampton and Henderson and Judkins. I don't know that Genty is really the biggest problem. But I love it, though, because the more he falls, the more we just keep cleaning up, bro. Just keep cleaning up.
Yeah. So just to give you a little backstory, I was a Chargers fan until they left. I got really upset, and then I quit watching football with all the kneeling and all the stuff. And then I got back into fantasy football. And once I did it, now it's like I still favor them, I guess, the Chargers. But at the same time, whoever I have my players, that's kind of who I watch, and that's who I'm into. And I really care about fantasy more than I care about,
of course,
how good one team does.
Yeah, that's the way I'm, bro. All right, appreciate you. Call back if you got another one. Later.
Thank you.
Yeah, phone line's open. Dial in. If I had to rank from a dynasty perspective, and just so everybody knows, I decided to make an executive decision, and the dynasty content will now be on this channel. Not that we haven't had dynasty content on this channel all the time anyway. Like this is an all-encompassing channel. We talk dynasty, we talk redraft, but I was creating dynasty specific content on the dynasty channel. Don't unsubscribe to the dynasty channel, because what that is turning into is going to be an amazing channel you're not going to want to not watch, because it's going to be kind of the unplugged version of this show. So it's called Fantasy Football Unplugged. It's what I've turned the Dynasty channel into. The first episode, my Fantasy Football Intern sitcom will be on there. But my first episode coming very, very soon on Fantasy Football Unplugged will have fantasy advice in it, but it's going to be kind of a behind the scenes. Think of it like Keeping Up with Smitty, or a Dog the Bounty Hunter, but fantasy football style. It's going to be Smitty on the streets. If I get my Can-Am, it'll be Can-Am. It'll be me riding around. It'll be me preparing for fantasy football takes. If the Aaron Rodgers news happens, I'll be talking, to the camera in a different way about how I'm going live on it, what I really think, what are my initial reactions. Do I think it's going to work? Do I think it's not going to work? It's going to be fantasy football content, but from almost a side camera angle of the show. So that's Fantasy Football Unplugged. If you're subscribed to the Dynasty channel already, then you're already subscribed to it. If you haven't, subscribed to it yet, here is the channel. It will be youtube.com/@Fantasy Football Unplugged. Hit that link. That should be it. Tell me if that link works. Subscribe to the channel. I promise you, you're going to love it. But the Dynasty content is now going to be on this channel, meaning that you go to my YouTube homepage, there will be the second row of videos will be Dynasty content only. I will create Dynasty only content. It will be on here. We'll do Dynasty only live streams. But of course, we're going to reference redraft and Dynasty and everything in between. So it's going to be a glorious way to have this content all in one place. So hopefully you all enjoy what I'm doing with both of these decisions. There's still two channels. One of them is just going to have a much more different feel of fantasy football content than you've ever received, because you're going to see the back end of the channel and how I feel about the advice I'm cooking. And then in the middle of it, I've in my first episode, my TV falls off the wall And so you're seeing that whole dramatic, back end, behind the scenes situation while I'm trying to create content. So Fantasy Football Unplugged on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. All right. Phone lines open. Dial in. Let's talk Harvey. Let's talk Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's talk fantasy football. Let's talk dynasty. From a dynasty perspective, people are going to be scared about his age 24. Don't be. This man, let's go into dynasty mode, in fact. Let's go into dynasty mode. This is part of what this channel is going to be doing moving forward, and I'm excited about it. Where's my dynasty button? I think it's around here somewhere. Keith, mute yourself real quickly, and I'll come to you in 1 second, bro. Where's my dynasty button when I need it? I want to say I have it around here somewhere. Where is it? I think it's here. Damn it. I got a button here. Here it is.
Smitty will now provide his dynasty analysis.
Okay, so dynasty topic, Harvey. Harvey is the topic of the moment. 24-year-old Harvey is petrifying Peters everywhere. There are petrified Peters at every turn right now because Harvey's 24 years old. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not concerned at all because Harvey is fresh. Harvey is in an ideal situation. If you're drafted like Tyrone Tracy was into a very vulnerable situation, he was an older player too at 24, 25. Tyrone Tracy was older. You had a big concerning situation brewing there in New York because they're a young team. They weren't ready to ball yet. If Tyrone Tracy was to get into a groove and become this really good player by the time they were competitive, they'd need to move on from him. He was not the same pedigree as Harvey anyway. This is not the same kind of draft capital. Harvey was a second-round pick. This is a player that the Broncos even wanted to take in the first round. This was Sean Payton's preferred running back. I'm sure he would have taken Genty. No one's saying he's a moron, but this was his preferred running back for his system, and he was baffled that he was still there late in the second round. This is second-round draft capital. The draft capital has a big pull on how much the team will invest in the running back, and the reason for that is that if you're a fifth or sixth round pick and you get injured, the team will move on very quickly. They won't hang on to you and say, give him another chance. We've got a lot invested in him. They'll just say, okay, we'll draft another running back or give that guy a shot, and then somebody's job is gone like that. With Harvey being a second rounder, he's packaged into a whole bunch more security in Denver. Not to mention, it doesn't matter. Like McVay, even if Harvey was a late pick, McVay loves Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams was a late draft selection. But guess what? It didn't matter. Once he's been accepted and loved like a child by McVay, he's in. And if Kyren doesn't get a long-term extension here in the coming weeks, he will be playing for a bag next year. Either way, it's great for Kyren. Kyren's going to ball out. This guy's got second-round draft capital. He's got fresh legs, and he's in an Alvin Kamara system. He's in an Alvin Kamara situation. He's going to explode in this offense. He's going to be the next Alvin Kamara, and he'll be Sean Payton's workhorse 3-down back in 2025. And when you think about his age and you say, well, Smitty, he's 24 years old. This is a problem. We're not going to get as many years out of him. That's not the case because at the end of the day, running backs have a 4 to 6 year shelf life. So you've got 2025, which he'll be 24 years old. So his 24 age season, his 25 age season, 26, 27, 28, 29. Alvin Kamara played well at 29. Very similar running back, very similar skill set. And I believe that with the fresh legs, low mileage, and the way that running backs can play, if things are all good and everything's perfect, they can play at 29 instead of 28. Alvin Kamara proved it. We've had a couple running backs in recent memory proving that 29 can be a year that you can deliver good production if you're used in a sparingly different way. If you're used like Alvin Kamara, not taking all the carries up the gut like Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry's the one anomaly you can't even consider when you talk about how long a running back can last. Harvey can be a guy that plays at 29 years old. That is 6 years. Anybody worried about a running back playing elite football past 6 years is not paying attention. Stop trying to have your team full of 23-year-old players in Dynasty. start understanding that it is about 6 years. He'll give you 6 years. That's probably it anyway. Even if he started at 23, he's giving you probably 6 elite years. So I'm not worried at all. In fact, it's a blessing in disguise because in Dynasty, you're going to get him a smidge cheaper. Go make offers. If you still got rookie drafts upcoming, try and get into positions where you can draft this kid because he's going to be an absolute monster in fantasy football 2025 and beyond. He is easily in my top 6 to 10 Dynasty running backs. Easily. His 24-year-old self does not affect his Dynasty ranking to me. I could care less. I'd take this kid number 3 or number 4 overall in a rookie-only draft, and I'd take him as a top 6 to 10 running back in Dynasty startups without a hesitation, and I'll do so over and over and over again. Okay, let me go to Keith, who's been waiting on hold. Keith, go ahead. You're live.
It's pretty appreciated, man.
Yeah.
So my question, my dilemma today is in a 14 two-keeper league, and debating on whether or not I should keep JSN in the 6th, along with Garrett Wilson in the 8th, or if I should keep Garrett Wilson in the 8th with Chase Brown also in the 8th round. I have 2 8th-round picks.
Okay.
So I'm kind of torn between those, but I feel like JSN and Garrett Wilson are very much similar. They have pretty similar, outcomes potentially. So I'm just.
I like both of these, but because of the longevity of wide receivers in Dynasty, I'm going to say the 2 receivers. So you're going to get.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was leaning towards.
Yeah, but it's not bad. I mean, Chase Brown gives you flexibility. Chat, put in the comments what you prefer. Chase Brown in round 8, so you get to pick 2 of these. You get to pick 2 of these options. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson for sure. I'm probably going to say this gives you flexibility to go into your draft and be like, okay, I got a running back. I got a top 10 running back. I got a top, 5 to 10 wide receiver. This is a fantastic situation, but I'd probably say we got Travis says you keep Chase Brown. What else, you guys? Drop your preference in the chat. Either way, you can't go wrong. This is a fantastic value. I guess the only thing you got to ask yourself is who's there in the 6th round? So if everybody's keeping 2 players, it really feels like an 8th round pick, right? So I don't know that there's going to be names there that are going to pop as much as a 4th rounder would. When someone asks me this question, and there's a 4th round situation, instead of an 8th rounder or a 6th rounder, that there's a player there like Mahomes, or there's a player there like someone like that you could say it's a much better situation. But the 8th or 6th round's more like the 8th round. Give me a couple names you think would be there in round 6 for you, and then that will decide.
Well, so here's the tricky part of the whole situation is that given this league, I traded away last year. I was going for the chip. I had a great team. Long story short. But I gave up a 2nd and a 3rd round pick last year. So actually, I still have my 1st round pick this coming year, but I lose my 2nd and 3rd round. And with there already being 28 players.
Yeah, then I would go Brown.
Okay, I could still get a good rookie running back or an H-Chan or
I would go
or somebody in the 1st round.
I would go, if I were you, is it running back hungry?
Yeah, I mean, with 14, it's pretty running back heavy.
Yeah, you might need to get an RB in that situation.
Gentie's going to go pretty early.
Not having a 2nd and 3rd round is brutal. What'd you do that for? What was the trade for that? To give it a 2nd and a 3rd?
So, yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
I gave away the 2nd round pick for George Kittle and JSN, and I gave up Kyle Pitts pick. And then for the 5th round pick, I ended up getting Brock Purdy because I had Anthony Richardson, who was doing pretty much garbage. And all I really needed was a solid quarterback to give me 20 points, and I didn't have to pay a ton for. But long story short, I had H-Chan.
Yeah, I got you. I got to move on. Good job. Chase Brown, go get Chase Brown and Garrett Wilson, lock them down, and then that gives you a little more wiggle room. Without a second and third rounder, you need that sixth rounder. You need that sixth round. So cement the 2 in the 8th round, gives you back a 6th rounder because you're losing the second and third, gives you running back stability. All right, call back if you got another one. I appreciate you, bro. 310 caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
What's up, Smitty? Josh from Cali, brother. How you doing, man?
Oh, Josh from yesterday. What's up, Josh?
What's up, brother? Hey, man, 2 questions.
Yeah.
2 questions for you, and that's all I got.
Okay.
One, your boy Harvey, all right? I know we can probably steal him, right? In Grandma Leagues, probably get him in the 6th. But true, Shark Leagues, where am I taking him? Is he like after Bucky? Is he by Chase Brown? Who's he comparable
by Chase Brown for sure. You're not going to have to take Bucky's in the 2nd round. So you're not taking Harvey in the 2nd round. But you're taking him in the 4th round like clockwork in very, very, shark-like leagues where people know what time it is. Best ball, he's going in the 4-5 turn. Grandma leagues, I guarantee you people are going to be in the chat going, Smitty got Harvey at 6.7 in my league. Let's go. We're going to see those, but not all of us. And it's not bad to play in those leagues. I don't want anybody to think grandma leagues are bad. I play in Miss Smitty's work league every year, and I consider that kind of grandma. And it's fun. It's fun as hell. There's nothing wrong with it. But you're not going to see Harvey in the 6.7, 7.1, 6.1 range in those leagues. But he's completely worth the 4th round pick. Because if I'm thinking he's going to be a top 5 to 10 running back, in hindsight, he will. I'm not saying pay this, but in hindsight, he will be worth a top 15 overall pick. Harvey's going to have that good of a season. If he stays healthy and all things go correct and you can't control certain things, but there's nothing here. There's no red flags here whatsoever. Harvey is if he's healthy and if he's used like I believe he 100% will be used like in Sean Payton's offense. He loves this kid. He loves this kid. It seems like the kind of love that Sean Payton has or that McVay has for Kyron. That feels like the Sean Payton Harvey connection. So if he climbs to, let's say, just to answer your future question, if he climbs to 3.5, I'm still taking him. But right now, in a very good league, it's 4th round. But I already answered this question earlier, bro. I said you got to look at your ADP rank, your suggested rank. If you're drafting on an ESPN format, and even if it's full of sharks or not, if he's suggested to go right when your pick's coming up, you got to take him there. You can't push it because you've heard he's got better ADP than that or whatever. You have to use your pre-ranked suggested list to your advantage. If you're drafting in person, you're in a little bit more of a you got to take him where you believe people will take him scenario. But it's all, like I said earlier, it's all about where the suggested rank is. What does the ADP look like on that format? If you're drafting on Sleeper and he's like you're up in the 4.1 and you look at the ADP and you look at your next pick and you match it up and it looks like he's going to be taken right before your pick, you can't push it then. You got to take him at 4.1.
Badass, man. Thanks, brother.
All right.
Another question. It's a little selfish. Hoping you can clear the whiteboard for me real quick. I made a trade. I want your opinion.
All right. Speed it up. Go ahead.
MHJ, Chase Brown, and a 2nd round pick.
All right.
Versus a 1st round pick. Oh, I'm sorry. Add Tootin on that side too. Four-way trade. Add
right.
Tootin on that side.
All right.
Bucky Irving, Chris Olave, a 1st round pick, and Jaden Blue.
Okay. As much as I love Bucky, like, where's this pick going to be if you had to guess?
Probably the 111. He's got a really good team.
Okay.
111,
so
110.
late first. As much as I love Bucky, bro, Chase Brown, you could argue, could have just as good a year. MHJ over Olave all day long. This 1st rounder might be the same as the 2nd rounder, and Tootin's got tons of upside. Unfortunately, this Bucky side loses, but I love Bucky. I'd find another way if you're acquiring Bucky to get Bucky, but you're giving up two potential 3rd round players, bro. You're just getting smashed. I love Bucky, but this is not the trade. This is a bad trade.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
You already did the trade?
I appreciate it.
You already did the trade?
Done.
Yeah.
Good deal.
I mean, yeah. The problem is, I know Bucky's got second round ADP versus Chase Brown's like third to fourth round ADP, but they could be very close. They're very comparable players. You know, MHJ being a third rounder, that's what really does this. You know, Olave. This is like almost like you're doing this trade off of Olave's 2023 value. You know, or 2022 value. Yeah, I don't like this at all, bro. All right. Sorry.
Appreciate it, bro.
All right, later, bro.
Thanks, man. Later.
All right, dial in. Phone lines are open. Yeah, that was a bad one.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I mean, even giving up like tooting. If it was, and he was being honest about the pick. If the pick was like the 1.1, I think at the end of the day, you could argue that if this is looking like it was going to probably be like the 1.1 or 1.2 for next year, and that's a hard thing to predict, then I'd be like, look, this doesn't look good now, but that could be good. But if this is a late first rounder, 1.11, he said, this is a lambasting. Just a bad move. But that's all right. You'll recover. You're watching this channel, you recover. If you don't bring that argumentative JD5 conversation to the table like last night when he brought it, he can recover. But he's got to accept the facts. The facts are JD5 is him. You're live, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Smitty? It's me, Kevin. How are you?
What's up, Kevin?
Not too much. So I'm really excited for the rookie running back this year. What do you think the likeliness that all four of Genty, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, and Omari and Hampton finish his top 8 to 10 running backs this year?
Well, I mean, if you heard what I said, I think 5 of the rookies are going to be top 12 to 15 running backs. So I've already kind of answered this question in the monologue, but you're asking me to go 8 to 10. I think
four rookies, top 8 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, so these are RBs. I think if I'm being honest, I think Genty 3 will go 5, 10. So Genty's going to be right here. And are we talking about performing as rookies or walking out of the 2025 season saying these guys are them for next year?
No, I'm saying performing.
So Genty, the problem you have with that is you have Hampton, who's going to be slow rolled out. You got Hendy, who probably doesn't get as slow rolled out, but there's still potentially 2-3 weeks where he's not fully unlocked. And that's fine with those guys because they're going to hit a rookie wall if they're run out there in week 1 like every down backs. They'll hit a rookie wall anyway. So if they're slow rolled out to like week 4 or 5, then it's perfectly lined up and then they might not hit a rookie wall. I think what ends up happening is Hampton plays so good as a rookie when he's unlocked. He does finish inside the top 10, but he will not be, top 5 or anything because he won't have a full year of playing all of the work. So I think he slips into the bottom of the top 10. I think Hendy's somewhere. Harvey's going to be in this 5 to 7. And while I want to put, like Hampton or Hendy higher, I think he's going to be borderline right around this 9, 10, 11, 12 territory. And there's a world where Hendy, if he's unlocked right away, finishes above Hampton. So I would say inside the top 8, 2, maybe 3. Maybe Hendy, if Hendy or Hampton get full workload by week 4 or 5, 3 of them. If both of them did, then 4. But I think right now it's safe to say top 8 running backs, probably my scientific answer would be 2.5 running backs finish in the top 8. Just because there's going to be, it just depends on workload. And I can't really tell you when a coach is going to fully unlock Hampton, when Vrabel is going to fully unlock Hendy. If I had to guess, Hendy would probably be slightly above Hampton on the year, but then walking into the season a lot of people will like Hampton more. So I'll say Hendy. Hendy is the borderline 8 guy. So he's like right on the verge. But Harvey's 5 to 7. Genty's top 3. The answer is 2.5 with a lean towards 2 versus 3.
Slow roll Travion though, because he's the best athlete running back.
Yeah, that's why I say he's probably going to be fine. But they're still going to, you got to remember, he's still a Jahmyr Gibbs. He's still a Breece Hall. He's not, even if they slow roll him, he's still going to be a guy that's getting 5 to 6 receptions and 10 to 12 carries. He's not getting 18 to 20, so he's never going to fully get 18 to 20 carries a game. You don't want him to get that. So it just depends on how he learns the offense, how quickly he picks things up, how much they throw to him right away. Because even if they gave him 10 to 12 carries a game, they still got to give him the 5 to 7 receptions. So I think Hendy has the better shot than Hampton to get into the top 8. So that's why I say 2.5. But if you're a betting man, it's smarter to bet on Genty and Harvey as being the 2 only running backs that are in the top 8. But I think all of these guys, Hampton, Hendy, Harvey, Genty, will all be top 10 to 12. All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Later. Call back. You got another one. Yeah, I think expecting. I mean, it's a little overzealous to expect. 4 or 5 rookie running backs to be in the top 8. I'm not saying they can't be in time. They're replenishing the running back pool. By walking into 2026, we can say bold things like that. Like, I think 5 of the 10 will be rookies or sophomores at the time. But it's just smart to be like Barkley, Bijan, Gibbs. Henry might still be there. Who knows? Genty, Harvey, that's 7. And if it's not Henry, it's, one of the other running backs that we love so much, Bucky. So I'm probably going to say, in no particular order, Bijan, Gibbs, Genty, Bucky, and you've got 2 spots left at that point. So that's why I say at most you already got Genty there. At most you have Harvey and another non-rookie to be in that mix. Or 3 spots left. It's just hard to expect it to be Hendy and Hampton and Judkins and those guys when they are rookies. They still need to learn some things. Now, rookies can be shoved into the lineup right away as running backs, but they're all in situations where they have other running backs that are still there. So it's not crazy to imagine Hendy getting 8 to 10 carries, in week 1, and then in week 5 or 6 when he's firing off, he's still getting 10, maybe 12 carries. Not even that many more carries, but he's completely embedded in the receiving game and all of that. Like, it's just going to be smooth operator from like week 4 on. And I'm not saying I don't think Hendy can't be elite in week 1. He certainly can. But keep in mind that if Hendy or Hampton or Judkins or any of these guys get workhorse volume from the jump, they will hit a rookie wall. And so you just got to pick and choose. What do you prefer? Do you prefer a slow rolling out of a player in week 4 or 5 and then having no rookie wall? Because then essentially from week 5 on, it's like the length of a college season. So that's kind of the way you got to look at it. Travis, you're live.
Hey, you Harvey in that? He gets workload from the jump. Don't you worry about him hitting the wall too?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that's the thing is you got to just, what do you choose? What do you want? And in some context, though, a rookie could still hit a wall even if they're slow rolled because there's a mental part of the rookie wall, and it's a long season for anybody to just take in. So there's going to be some sort of rookie wall for everybody. It's just a matter of, is it a rookie? If you start like Gibbs did, when Gibbs was unlocked week 7, he didn't hit a rookie wall. Gibbs's numbers are this bottom column. He hit this like week 12, 13, 14, where it was running back 24, running back 29, running back 15. But that was some workload stuff as well. But you can hit a big, thick, fat, month-long rookie wall if you get a lot of run from week 1 on. But even starting in week 5 or 6 or whatever, you could still mentally be like, this is a long season. I'm still putting in the practices. I'm still putting in the game film. I'm still putting in, and you wear down a little bit, but it just won't be as impacting. So I expect every rookie to have some sort of hiccup during the season, like in the double digit weeks 10, 11, 12. But, look at Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase had such a big rookie wall because he was thrown to the wolves. And he had it was like a 4-game stretch where I kept saying, buy low, buy low, buy low. And everyone's like, Smitty, I think he just got lucky. People forget Jamar Chase seems so obvious right now. During his rookie year, there were so many haters and doubters that I was bold by saying, go trade for Jamar Chase as a rookie during this rookie wall stage, and you'll win a league. And it was extremely bold. If you don't remember, go back and look at the game logs. Everybody said he had an anomaly fluke part of his rookie year, and I don't know if he's the guy. And if you remember back even like a year or two ago, it was a bold take. I had him as the number 1 wide receiver, and he didn't finish that way that year. It was the next year that he did. So I was a year early on how good he would be from a fantasy football perspective. But I remember it was even crazy talk to have him in the top 3 or 4 overall 2 years ago. So people have very short memories about how good Jamar Chase was in their mind 2-3 years ago. But Chase hit a major rookie wall. He was like 4 weeks long. I was even getting worried about my own advice because I kept saying, buy him, trust me, you'll win a league, trust me, buy him. And he kept slumping, and he couldn't get out of that rookie wall. And then he finally exploded out. But the one thing I always tell everybody, and there's nothing more true than this when we talk about rookies. I always say this, and I'll continue to say it. If this is week 1, this is week 8, this is week 17, this is playing at 100%, an amazingness, this is 0. If a rookie is going like this, and in about week 10, 11 hits this rookie wall, and this rookie wall can be, like I said, 2 weeks long, 1 month long, whatever the case may be, the true elite rookies, wide receivers, running backs, doesn't matter. When they get through this rookie wall, and it's a struggle, and they get through, the true elite players, and this is how you know when someone's going to be elite the next year and beyond, they explode out of the rookie wall. They absolutely explode out of it. Jamar Chase exploded, ignited out of the wall like a rocket. And so just know that too when you're waiting for a player to break out of that rookie wall. The true elite ones will be on a rocket ship blasting through it, and then they go to the moon. Crow says Harvey or Judkins in Dynasty. What do you think I'm going to say? What do you think I'm going to say an hour and 2 minutes into the Harvey's at number 2 running back show, Crow? Of course the answer is Harvey, without a hesitation. What else you got, Travis?
Yeah, I was just looking at it. Week 16, I think it was. He used to only have like 50 something yards as highest amount of yards, and then he exploded with, I don't know, it was like 10 for 125. I came out of that wall. So just a reminder.
Yeah, it's crazy how the elite ones bust through. It happens.
You look at it with all sports, young guys, the league adapts to them. They have to adapt to like the rigors and the stresses of, the pro game versus the college game or minor league. It happens in baseball, it happens in hockey. Like, see it with all these young guys. And the studs, like you said, always come out of you. Always make adjustments. And
here's
that's just another way to tell if a guy is a true stud. See that.
Here's Jamar Chase's rookie game log for people that want to see it. So the bottom is when he was in his he was coming out of his rookie wall kind of. He had the 77 and 2 TDs there, and then this still the struggle bus game, but then like 125. Then he had 266 and 3, and then he didn't play that final week at Cleveland. But just what an explosion right out of there. San Francisco 77 and 2. In a hiccup game, but 125 and 7 receptions, 11 receptions on 12 targets for 266 and 3. He was just an insane league winner that year. And that was week 17 or week 16, right? Back then when there were 17 weeks. So 266 and 3 in the final. That was the final fantasy week, I believe. So he single-handedly won people championships with 11 catches for 266 and 3. That was Jamar Chase. He exploded. I want you to say Judkins, LOL. Sorry, I tuned in late. No problem, bro. You don't have to apologize. My reactions aren't that I'm mad at you. It's just I'm passionate, my boy Crow. You know that. But yeah, I love Harvey. Harvey is my number 2 ranked running back right now as a rookie for the rookie season. Do I think Hendy is right there with Harvey at the end of the year? Yeah. Do I think Hendy could be better than Harvey long term? I think he could. I think they're both amazing. I want both of them. If I've got 2 dynasty drafts side by side, I'm struggling between Hendy and Harvey. I'm down bad. I'm pacing. I probably don't sleep the night before. I've got this situation coming up in a draft. I don't know which one I'm going to take. And to be honest with you, you add in Travis Hunter into the mix too, it becomes a really, really tough problem to solve, especially if you need like a wide receiver and you're weighing out Harvey, Hendy, and Hunter. That's a really, really tough decision. There's no real good answer in that situation, especially if you need a wide receiver. If push comes to shove, I pick Harvey because I believe his rookie year will be the best of the 3. But doesn't mean I don't love all 3. Doesn't mean long term I don't like Hunter and Hendy, as much, or in some cases more. It just really, so much goes into it. Also, one thing I do tell people though is when you're picking a fantasy football asset and push comes to shove, you always should lean on the side of potent offense. What is the better offense? Now, the Patriots might become that, and I think that's not a bad gamble to make, especially if you're not faced with a Harvey versus Hendy dilemma. But there is a world and a science behind, do you grab Hendy in what you believe will be a good potent offense, or could be, or develop into one by midseason, or do you take Harvey, who's in a potent environment from the jump? So as much as I want to be biased toward my boy Hendy, I think Harvey's the smarter play if you've got one league, even in Dynasty, especially in redraft. Harvey's my pick. He's my number 2 overall rookie. But Hendy, by the end of the year, long-term perspective, is easily right in that same vein. They're neck and neck. So if you're making a long-term Dynasty call and you can't really win now, or you're in rebuild mode, that should also influence you a little bit, because you get Hendy, as a potentially maybe safer PPR option. Hendy's a baller, bro. Don't, for anybody that's a little disappointed that I'm talking Harvey up so much right now and they're like, I'm a Hendy guy, I drafted Hendy. Don't worry, the Hendy video is coming in a couple days. So you'll be pumped up about Hendy just as much. Don't worry. Travis, real quick, anything else? And then I'm going to jump to this other caller. You can stay on the line, of course.
Yeah, just and I agree with you on Harvey. He's probably got the more immediate value. Might even be better. Probably will be better in redraft this year, maybe. With Hendy, I like they were. James White was talking today about how they're having Hendy watch James White take and run James White plays, and teaching him that part of the playbook already. James White was really the passing game. He wasn't the greatest rushing running back. He was the pass catching guy. So Hendy can be a monster at PPR.
Yeah, I love that. I love that people are taking that as a negative, like, oh, James White. That's, people are too close-minded. They want him to mirror part of James White's game. Doesn't mean they're not going to tell him to watch, Derrick Henry footage next and be like, you be a monster between the tackles, son, as well. Like, it's just, they want him to, yeah.
100 yards receiving.
I know. That people are wild. It's such a good thing to be like, let's make you James White on the receiving aspect of things. That's great. It's fantastic. Good points. All right, real quickly, let me answer these super chats and then I'll go over to the caller. I think this is a same question. Hold on, let me grab this. Chrissy, thank you for the Dublé super chats. Tet or Hunter at 1.3? Give me Hunter all day long, and it's not even close. And this whole video footage of him dropping the ball and then stumbling during a route. And then people put, Chrissy, you've probably seen these two videos side by side that show Tet McMillan running like a 5-yard, like it was either an out or like a hook. It was a really, really simple route. And then you saw Hunter running a very complex route that he's probably never run a lot in college. And people are comparing the two routes, and Hunter, can't get to the ball, and he looks like he's tripping and he can't find the ball. People are just absolutely out of their minds. Keep in mind that Ja'Marr Chase, there was a report, if you remember this report, and this is why when I say people have foggy memories about how much Ja'Marr Chase was doubted when he was this channel's favorite rookie receiver and a big pillar of this channel, building up, breakouts and moon men and Mars men, because Ja'Marr Chase was doubted very much. There were so many people that thought he wouldn't translate. He could be this like propped up disappointment. Even during the year after he exploded as a rookie and then had that lull of action where he hit a rookie wall, people were doubting Ja'Marr Chase. People were doubting Ja'Marr Chase 2 years ago when we said he'd be a top 4 overall player, maybe the wide receiver 1. He wasn't that year, but the next year he was a Triple Crown winner. So we've been on Ja'Marr Chase from the jump. But if you remember, during his rookie year, when people were throwing a lot of shade at Ja'Marr Chase, there was reports saying that the catching a college ball is a lot easier than catching a pro ball, and Ja'Marr Chase isn't catching the ball well at the pro level. The NFL football is just different. And people were actually peddling this out there. Mickey Mouse conversations about Ja'Marr Chase. Are we kidding? Are we joking? How did that even come up? I was pissed off. I went on a tirade about it at the time, but like, are you kidding me? You're literally trying to say Ja'Marr Chase is going to have trouble catching a college football? I've got a college football and a pro football. This football is no different. You throw a college football at me, I'll catch it the same way. It feels the exact same, aside from a little bit of size difference. Give me a break. You could catch a tennis ball. You could throw a rugby ball. It doesn't matter. A receiver is going to catch a ball, period. It's a stupid conversation. But people said that about Ja'Marr Chase. And then he started to drop balls. Oh, he's gonna have a case of the dropsies his whole career. Ja'Marr Chase was a monster. So any sort of negativity on Travis Hunter right now, I laugh at it. And we'll be laughing at it in hindsight. Now, do I think Tet's bad? No. I've never said Tet McMillan's going to bust. I just think Tet McMillan has a ceiling value of T. Higgins, which is fine. T. Higgins is going in the top 25 overall right now. That's a really respectable thing that I'm tossing out there. Is my okay. So when I say T. Higgins is a ceiling, people shouldn't get pissed off about that. But Hunter's got a higher ceiling. I like Hunter 10 times better than Tet McMillan. So that's the answer to that question. This one, 1.3, 1.4. Do I go Hendy and Harvey or Hunter? Again, you heard me answer this, and you probably already sent this message, but I struggle. I stay up at night, or I will, of who I select with my 1.4 that I have. Do I take Hendy? Do I take Harvey? Do I take Hunter? I love all 4 of them. Hendy's got a little bit more long-term thought process, like value because of the age. But then again, you take what I broke down and you say, well, what about the fact that you only got a 5 or 6 year shelf life anyway? Could Harvey play well at 29? Then that would put him in that window anyway. It doesn't matter if he's 23, 24, 22. If he's playing 6 elite years, he's playing 6 elite years. And at 29, that would be his 6th year in the 24 age scenario. So I'm not even worried about it. But Hendy could be, because he's a little bit more of a pass catcher, he could be a guy that plays an extra year. I could see that. Hunter is going to have a decade plus long career. So I probably say to you this: if you need a wide receiver at all, Hunter's locked in to one of them. It just comes down to Hendy and Harvey. If you can win now, I say Harvey because he's in a potent offense. It's ready to go. If you can wait a little bit, Hendy, but there could be some offensive disappointments. Maybe not. It could be an offense that flourishes. They addressed the offensive line with their top 3 pick. They grabbed Henderson right away, who's also protecting as the best pass protecting back in the class. He's also protecting Drake May. This is all about Drake May. And so you ask yourself, is Hendy going to be off the field? Probably not. because he's protecting Drake May. The move was made to protect Drake May, and he's a weapon which protects Drake May because he's got a weapon to throw to. Everything protects him in these these selections, Hendy and offensive line. I think they're all amazing picks. I have no answer for you other than if you can win now, go Harvey and take Hunter if you need a receiver. If you need 2 running backs, your receivers are great, then take both running backs. No doubt about it. B for 3. Is it crazy? People think Harvey will split carries with Estime and McLaughlin. These guys did not ball out last year. B for 3, it's mind-boggling that there are people at every Harvey live stream that say, what about Estime? What about Estime, Smitty? What about him? I'm still waiting for the answer. What about him? He had all year to do something he didn't. How's Estime going to hold Harvey back? You out of your minds? Dynasty PPR, move my MHJ for 1.3 and 1.6. I have 1.7. Looks like I can draft McMillan, Igbuka, Harvey in those slots. I mean, yeah, I take, as much as I love MHJ, I love Harvey, Hendy, or Hunter better. I know that's crazy. Not everybody will agree with me on the Hunter part. They'll say I'd rather have MHJ, and I get that. And part of me could waver. I could waver on Hunter versus MHJ. I loved MHJ last year. I loved him, and I still think he could be every bit as good, but there are some concerns. I think mostly at 1.3, though, you have the luxury of taking whoever you want, whether it's Harvey, Hendy, or Hunter. So it's a more valuable asset than Marv alone. If it was guaranteed someone already is giving you Hunter and you don't have the option of changing your mind at 1.3, then it's less effective on me. I can still see myself doing it, not doing it. But you give me the 1.3 alone for Marv, I take it. And you give me the 1.3 and 1.6. That's a great trade. Smitty approved that.
You've just been...
And the last super chat before I go to the other phone caller who's waiting patiently. Appreciate that. Hernandez says Kyron or Harvey in Dynasty. Harvey, and it's not close. And it's coming from the biggest Kyron supporter alive. Kyron's played a plethora of years already. The window is closing for him every year. Not saying he's not going to be great this year and next year, but there is a world where he plays 2 more elite, electric, 15 total touchdown seasons and then gets hurt. You know, they've run him into the ground. Harvey's just getting going. Harvey without a hesitation. But I love both of them, and I have both of them in dynasty leagues, and I couldn't be more ecstatic about I have Bucky, Harvey, and Kyron, and then I have Achan, Bucky, and Hendy in elite, and so I couldn't be more thrilled than having those running back staples. Right, 631 caller, you're live. What's your name and where you calling from? Hello. Hello?
You're on mute.
Sorry, I was on mute. It's Fernando from Long Island, New York. You just answered my super chat on the MSJ trade.
Attaboy. What's up? Thank you for the super chat.
Of course. I want to ask more about MHK. Like, do we think Trey McBride's going to be like the number one option there, and MHK fall for that, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, he is the number one option. I don't think he could be. He is. I mean, freaking monster. But doesn't mean they can't coexist. You know, I don't know. Like, Marv's going to out touchdown produce him. So at the end of the day, who's more fantasy valuable? Marv had 8 TDs last year in a disappointing season where he wasn't picking up things as quickly as we thought he would because he's such an advanced mind of the game. He's an advanced physical specimen. His father, every step of the way, Marv was ahead of everybody. And so it's a little weird, and it sucks, and it makes you question him a little bit. But you can't look into it that deeply. But the fact that he didn't continue that, and other players did, like Neighbors and BTJ and Ladd, it makes you frustrated. You're like, how the hell did that happen? And then you start looking at Kyler and the Cardinals and the play calling. And it's like, how much of it was Marv's fault? We don't really know. But I do believe what I'm hearing, everything feels like it's on track. and at third round value in redraft, and in Dynasty, probably late second to third round value in Dynasty. I don't think his Dynasty value is that much crazy higher than it is in redraft. It probably is a little bit as Henry's and guys fall out, but it's still baked in. You're not buying him at top 8, 9, 10 overall value anymore. You're getting this guy as almost your third drafted player in Dynasty or right there, and mid-third drafted player in redraft. You don't have to concern yourselves with the details of, does he ball out to the exact same extent we thought he would last year? Does he become the exact player we need right now? This is a guy that scored 8 touchdowns as a rookie in a very struggle bus year. So having 10 to 12 on a much better year, even if McBride's the number one target for Marv, fantasy-wise, it might be very, very similar. So there are 2 players that can exist in this offense. I truly believe that. And even if McBride gets 7 or 8 touchdowns, he could still have 10, 11, 12. So I think he could outscore him on all levels, every category. It's possible that Marv could be better than. But I think it's safe to say, okay, McBride's going to beat him out in yards. Marv might not in yards, but he will in touchdowns, and they'll both coexist.
All right, cool. Yeah, it sounds like a Kelsey, Tyreek Hill type.
Yeah, that's a good example. For sure. Now, your question will be Kyler. Can Kyler do it? Can Kyler, be a facilitator? That's going to be the question. I mean, the risk isn't on Marv. I think Marv will be fine. I think Marv will bounce back 100%. The risk will be, will Kyler be able to support him, or will this be a frustrating, damn it, it's not Marv at all. It's still Kyler's problem. Or it's the play calling, because Arizona Cardinal play calling was garbage last year, bro. Garbage. I mean, how do you get McBride nearly 0 touchdowns? It's insane. It's insane. This is one of the better red zone targets probably in the league, and you don't dial up plays to get him. Like it's when they got near the goal line, they just folded. But hopefully that changes. All right, my boy. Call back if you got another one.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, later. $20 holler from BBQ, dropping straight wattage on the screen. The man, the myth, the legend, BBQ.
Alert. Super chat alert.
BBQ, appreciate you dropping fire on screen. BBQ's $20 holler is as follows: with the starting depth at running back this year, how would you approach auction league values for running backs? Elite running backs normally get bid up $200 budget. This is a great question, and we need to do more auction content here on the channel. BBQ, thank you for that super chat. Auction, I probably have an auction row. I vow to you that my YouTube homepage, when you go to my YouTube homepage, the rows will be different playlists. They will be the most helpful that you can find on YouTube. It'll be fantasy football court row, waiver wire. Once we have waiver wire shows, there'll be a waiver wire row. In auction dollar value type stuff, I need to make a row for that as well. If you're trying to find specific content and you're bored, go to my YouTube. Even right now, I have it organized very well. You can go there and find court episodes. You can go there and find ADP shows. And so it's all organized. You got NFL rookie content. One of them will be auction. So auction dollars, this is a really good question, and this will, I think, win your league. Barkley, don't even think about it. Don't go after Barkley. Bijan, don't even think about it in auction. Don't go after Bijan. Gibbs, probably not. Now, I'd still bid and partake. Maybe always don't be the guy that sits there and watches somebody, let's say Barkley goes for, I don't know. Let's say the first player called out is Gibbs, and he goes for $64. And then Bijan goes for 72. Barkley goes for 70. And you're like, good God, the first guy went for cheap. That happens once in a while. Don't be that guy that didn't bid and try and get him. But for the most part, these guys are going to burn so much of your $200 budget. If you've got $200, go after the man of the hour, Harvey. Go after Bucky if you can get him cheap. Go after Breece Hall. Go after RBs like Hendy. The rookies are phenomenal in auction. Go after players like that. And then I use the dollar amounts to go get players that I believe can still be as good as the top 5 or 6 guys, but that are outside. So an example of wide receivers, Neighbors I'd flirt around with. You might be able to get him a little cheaper than you should, but he might be somebody I'll put a dotted line through that still costs a crazy amount of money. But I think you do get Marvs, you do get JSNs, you do get Debo Samuels, you do get a bunch of players like that. I'm not saying you can't have one big gun, but make it fall naturally. If you go straight Bijan, Gibbs, or Barkley shopping, and these 3 guys will probably go very early on, you end up having so much of your money burned from the jump, and you can't get these bargains. But if I can get 2 or 3 Harveys, or a Bucky and a Harvey, versus having 1 Barkley or 1 Bijan or 1 Gibbs, or something along those lines, I'm smashing it. Or even if Bucky costs too much, if you could get me a Hall, Hendy, and Harvey at almost a little bit more than the cost of one of these big backs is costing $70 or $80, or even if just 2 of these guys, if they're costing me 40 and 30 versus 75, then it's a home run. So use your money smartly. Avoid some of the top $70, $80 money draining players, because you just can't build a solid team around it as much. So that would be my auction dollar advice. Don't miss out on getting big dogs. I'm not saying that, but don't spend all your money on $70, $80 players. Even if you got a Gibbs and a Bijan and that's all you had, you could build around that. I've done that before. It's called a 2-headed monster, especially if you get the right quarterback. So let's say you get Dak Prescott for a couple dollars, you get Bijan and Gibbs. I don't mind that approach. That approach is fun. But if you want, a value type team, you want to have a very well-rounded team. If you aren't a wild man that can go in and draft a team like that, which I can, that's fun. Then go with the Harveys, go with Harvey and Hendy, go with Harvey and Bucky, go with Harvey and Kyron. Kyron's the 3rd round. Just think of it like this. Who are the values in the 2nd and 3rd and 4th round for players? Get as many of the 3rd round players as you can. Kyron, Hall, Mahomes in the 6th round, is going to be a good value as well. Go get those players. You build your auction around those sleeping giant players. Throw Bucky in it. Game over. Auctions can be won through depth. Nobody will answer if they prefer Sharbs or Tootin. I'll answer it, Jay Freezy. Sharbs or Tootin? I want Sharbs. Tootin's good. I like him. There's some negative talk about him today, which I don't care. It doesn't affect me. He fumbled the ball. First carry. Live action, fumbled the ball. Not worried about it. But, he's got Bigsby to defend with. He's got ETN to defend with. I like Tootin a lot. But Charbonnet is a proven top 5 running back when he's getting elite touches. So, kind of feel like he's such a home run hitter, bro. Travis, what else you got?
That makes it funny, the way people perceive things, perception of things. Because, clearly there was issues, with Tyler and play calling, and MHJ took a little while to get, up to snuff on things. But in terms of just looking at numbers, which a lot of people do, in regards, if he had that 1,000 number, 1,008, almost no one would complain about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Because you didn't get there. People throw them out with the trash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. 1,008 would look solid. It was just a 200-yard difference. And honestly, if Kyler would have hit, but here's the thing, bro. If Kyler would have hit him on that one throw, just that one, or just the 2, we'll just use one. There was a 60-70-yard touchdown where he's wide open running. The cameraman was panned out. You couldn't see a single defender. It was like 30-40 yard of just MHJ. That one throw would have put him probably at 900 and I'm just guessing 910 yards and 9 touchdowns. And if you give him just one more of the Kyler miscues that was a long bomb, like there, all of a sudden he has nearly 1,010 touchdowns. So it's like literally 2 or 3 plays could have got him to the 1,000. And you could play that game with anybody, but these were very obvious Kyler Murray missteps that suck.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, that any touchdown should tell you something. He can score, which is huge in fantasy, especially. And then on top of it, how many rookies get 800 yards? Not many do. I understand now the bar has risen, so we have to hold them to that bar. But, there's always context to be had.
Yeah, he'll be great. People just need to realize that the cost of entry it's adjusted. There's really no way, unless he was to get hurt or Kyler got hurt, and you can't really predict those things, but there's really no way for him to disappoint from his third round value if everyone's healthy, which I think we're expecting. Like, Marv is going to get you 1,000 and at least 8 again. So 1,008 to 10, he's earning his third round value. He's earning it. And the thing is, he can win you a league from the third round. He couldn't win you the league from his 2020. Like, if he was getting drafted in the same place this year that he was last year, let's say everybody's like, screw it, I'm all in again, and he was going 11. He can't win you a league there, but he can win you a league from his newfound 3.5 round value, 3.5, 3.4, 3. I mean, depends where you're drafted, but he can win you a league there. Kyron can win you a league in the third round. Bucky can win you the league at the late second round pick. Harvey can win you a league in round 5 or 6, or even 4.12. Harvey can win you a league there. A player like Ladd McConkey going at 13 or 14 overall, I don't think can win you a league there. He can try and earn that value, and maybe he does, and you're like, okay, it wasn't a waste of a pick. I'm not saying it has to be a waste of a pick, but he can't win you a league there. I think a player where Ladd's getting taken, where they can win you a league, I think Bucky can still win you a league where Ladd's getting taken, because Bucky can be a top 4 running back.
And that's the thing, like, when it comes down to it, like a Ladd or JSN's going like a round later, right?
Yeah, JSN is going in round 3 now. He climbed into 2, but then he fell back into 3. So yeah.
And I think they produce, pretty similar probably, and I might even say JSN might have slightly higher ceiling. I know people will disagree with me.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of mouths to feed in that Chargers offense in the running back.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of comments on here. I was going to throw some of them out here. You all are crazy, Mike says, as he has his Caleb Williams avatar. There's nothing that hits harder than you all are crazy, and you got Caleb Williams avatar. What are you talking about? What does he have a problem with? You all are crazy. Crazy about what? Let me go to his previous comment. Marv, it's about Marv. Marv is great. Kyler sucks, though. You all are crazy. Is that what you're talking about, or is it about Harvey? What are we crazy about, Mike? Let us know. We're really intrigued by your unslanted, unbiased take. Amon-Ra out targets him by a mile. I don't know what player you're talking about, though, Mike. You're not clear. You're not talking
about Amon-Ra versus MHJ.
Amon-Ra versus MHJ. Well, I'm not talking about. I don't know what you're saying. You all are crazy. Who here is saying that? Maybe one person in the chat is talking about Marv over MHJ. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not coming from me. It's not coming from me. Silver in the building. Silver, appreciate you. Gotta head out early later, fellas. Silver to the moon. Silver, you still there? Appreciate Silver Rapture. He's the eldest viewer and subscriber on the channel. Alex Cruz was, but he went off to military school, so he left Silver in charge. What we draft close to the season start. It only takes a good preseason showing for players' ADP to skyrocket. First off season here, do you provide info on when to reach for someone you are targeting, or just stay with best player available? Of course, I mean, I kind of always talk about this, BBQ. It really comes down to, and this doesn't change based on any upcoming information or rises in ADP or anything. If you look, and it's so simple, if you're on the clock at 3.5 in the third round, and this is your pick right here, okay, 3.5, and you want to take, let's say, or actually, yeah, well, just whatever. We'll just use a fake name. Let's say you're taking John Stevens, whatever. His ADP is in a place where if you count it, you just look at his ADP and it says his ADP is 4.3. That's his ADP. You know, and you count down and you look at where your next pick is, and your pick is right where his ADP is, or even if it's just one pick different in either direction, and you want to reach for that player, I have no problem with it. I don't think you should be reaching your entire draft, but if you're trying to take one guy, an amazing player that you need to have, that is fine to reach at that territory. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I do this with Mahomes a lot too. If he could fall to the 6th, 7th round range, but I got to take him at 6.1, I do it because I can't afford to wait. But if you look at this player's ADP and let's say it's like 4.12, okay, and you're picking and you're looking at the ADP and you know that they'll land here, but you're picking here, then you're fine. You punt it. But it's all about just not making it close. You don't want to look at it, especially if you're on ESPN and you see Harvey's got an ADP at 6.5. And you're trying to pick him at 4, or 3.10 because you're afraid he's going to last your 4th round pick, no doubt about it. Or if he's going at 6.7 on ESPN and you're worried about him landing at 5.10, you'll probably be fine. So don't push it and make it close, but you're always fine reaching if you can't get the player at the next pick. I just wouldn't do that with all of my picks, or you're going to end up chasing too much talent. But that carries over from any sort of player updates or someone spiking in the preseason. Now, I will say, to answer your preseason question, if ADPs don't adjust, and you're like, if this is what your question was, BBQ, maybe this is what it was. If let's say Harvey has a 100-yard, run, 100-yard, they're at the millimeter yard line, and he gets a handoff in the preseason, he takes it 99.999 yards for a touchdown, and you draft the next morning. It's case by case. You're gonna have to come in and ask me, like, hey, Harvey's got a 4.5 ADP, what do I do? I got 3.5. Do I take him at 3.5? Because there's no way he's lasting to my 4.5. What do I do, Smitty? Like, you're gonna have to come in and ask me that question. No doubt about it, a preseason game or even a practice. Remember, Bijan was catching one-handed passes in practice. He was like finger-tipping it, touchdown, 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 and it was increasing his value like crazy. Chris Godwin, his breakout year was a 6th to 7th round gem, and I created a video, win a league on Chris Godwin in the 6th and 7th round, peddled that out there for months, and then what happens? I believe it was the OC that came out and said Chris Godwin's going to catch 100 balls. His ADP skyrocketed from the 6th to 7th round off of that one comment, not even play, not even a highlight, but a comment by his offensive coordinator that shot Godwin up to the 3rd round. And everybody's like, oh, he's not going to earn that anymore. He still did. He was like a top 13, 14 overall player that one year, if you remember Chris Godwin's season. He was so promising. I'm not saying he's, dead to us now, but he's certainly a different player. And walking into this season with Ibuka behind him, and having an ankle injury that is seemingly more of a concern walking into week 1 and being ready for week 1 than we initially thought, which explains why they drafted Ibuka. There might be some concern there. But my point is, like, what would I advise somebody the next morning after a comment like that? It'd be case by case. There's no formula to suggest how much to reach on a player based on a preseason outing before ADP is adjusted, if that makes sense, BBQ. Seahawks offense is going to be very run heavy. We know that, Mike. Thanks for that information. They got rid of DK Metcalf, if you didn't know. So JSN's going to be fine. I don't know if you're trying to crap on MHJ. You're trying to crap on JSN. You're trying to crap. I imagine you're going to crap on HN and Kyron and Breece Hall. I bet you hate all 3 of those running backs. I bet you're going to crap on Bucky. I bet you don't like anything where it's something you missed, bro, or something that seems a little like it hasn't happened yet. I think you like for sure things, which is why I don't know why you're a Bears fan. Maybe because you like for sure, mediocrity with the way that they develop their damn quarterbacks, Mike. I don't know. Go ahead, Travis. Or do we have another caller on the phone? No, we don't. I think I might have messed up the phone line.
Motion detected at the front door.
Travis, you there? Let me turn the phone line on. How about now? Travis, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I said to turn it on. I just said to turn the speaker on and off. Okay, I'm good. BBQ dropping one more. Hold on one second. In my opinion, it seems like tight end is a position you can wait on. We'd rather stock up. Yeah, you can. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Bowers or McBride. I think if you, back in the olden days, had to take Travis Kelce in round 1, that was one where no matter what the positional advantage was, I punted it. But I think there's a real solid, strong case for Bowers or McBride in the second round. But if that isn't your cup of tea, everybody should draft to their own strength. Not that you shouldn't make your weakness a strength and become an even better fantasy football player and drafter and trader every year. You should. But if you find that, okay, I'm really good at grabbing Evan Ingram with Likely or Andrews and Likely together and grab a Fannin Jr. as whatever in best ball, and then in non-best ball, usually draft one tight end, maybe a second one. Andrews and Likely would be very, very good as well. Ingram would be fantastic. I love a lot of those later tight end grabs. And if I go over to thefantasyfootballshow.com and take a look and gander at my rankings, I'll just spit off some amazing late tight end options for you. If you are a late drafting tight end monster like BBQ, then you're going to want Jonnu Smith, who's disrespected in the... What round does Jonnu go, Travis? It's like 7 or... I don't know. Kelce.
Yeah. Let's see.
Look that up real quick.
It's underdog. He's going 90.
Nice. Top 5 tight end. So Ingram, same thing.
Like round 8.
Round 7, 8. Okay. Kelce, around the same territory. So really, Andrews tied to Likely. Hawkinson, Kelce, Evan Ingram, Jonnu Smith. Those are all outside the big 4. The big 4 being Brock, Bowers, Trey McBride, Laporta, and Kittle. You've got Jonnu, Evan Ingram, Kelce, and Ingram I'm higher than other people. Kelce, Tyler Warren, Hawkinson, Mark Andrews. That's you're down with Kyle Pitts included. That's like 11 tight ends, and then you have the sleepers. You have Loveland, you have Kraft. Kraft is a very nice sleeper candidate. You got Mason Taylor, rookie. There's no way you can screw up waiting on a tight end, I think, in 2025. But I also think it's fair to say you're not really screwing up at all by drafting big 2. Mike says Colston Loveland. Of course he would. Mike, you're probably the last person anybody should take advice from. No offense, but Mike, who is all about Chicago, like no one's gonna listen to Mike's fantasy advice. It's all Chicago Bear driven. It's just draft Loveland. Caleb will be fine. Marv, forget him. Anybody in the division, forget them. They're all bad. 20 gifted memberships by BBQ. We got Andy dropping 10 gifted membership. And Andy, appreciate you, Andy. Andy to the moon. Send Andy to the moon on that one. Andy dropping to the 10. Moon. BBQ dropping 20. BBQ dropping super chats. Drop that BBQ emoji and do it live. Appreciate you with that. And then before I go to Travis real quickly, I think I've got all my chats taken care of. Okay, go ahead, Travis.
Someone was asking in the chat, but I kind of had a question around it too. His question was, he's in a 10-team dynasty. It's a rookie draft. He's got the 1.02. He was asking, do I take Hampton or Harvey? And then my question off of that is, when you're in that situation, obviously you try to get the 1.1. If you can't get the 1.1 though, you just sit and take Hampton, or do you try to trade back, and whether it's 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, get the Harvey with something else?
Yeah, this is I like Hampton a lot, I do, but this is not a clear-cut situation in year 1. So in year 2, the other things you got to factor in, and I'm not telling you guys I don't think Hampton's a top 10 running back for the future. I really like him. I'm drafting him a lot in best ball. I really like Hampton, but he's going to have a running back by committee more so than any of the other 4 running backs to start off the year. Najee's a big problem. I'm not saying Najee's better than him, but he's a big problem. He's going to be a thorn in his side. And so the question you got to ask yourself is, Hampton coming out of next year not only has to be healthy, but he also has to be like in a good space, like good momentum. If the momentum's not there, then you can't just assume that, oh, he's just gonna the switch has been flipped. Like, he's got to walk out healthy, he's got to have a good year. There's a lot of things that got to happen. What if they brought Najee back again? I'm not saying they will, but if Najee had a good year. So to start talking about 2026 as the beneficial part of Hampton drafting, when Harvey's 2026 is going to be absolutely electric too. So you have to ask yourself, well, what about 2025? What serves me best for 2025? Can I win now? If you can win now, Harvey's the second best player in fantasy football rookie rankings. 2025, Harvey is the better option than Hampton. He just is. And in 2026, he might be as well. In 2027, he might be as well. Is there a world where Hampton's got more long-term value? Maybe. But you're talking about 5-6 years down the road to where we might see Harvey drop off a year, a singular year early because he's 24 right now. And Hampton plays one more better year. Like, you really going to play that game? So at the end of the day, I'm thinking along the lines of what Travis just suggested. I would trade down. I wouldn't go too far because all it takes is, like BBQ just alluded to, one 99.999 yard touchdown run in the preseason and Harvey to the moon. So worst case scenario, you get your Hampton back at 1.3. I wouldn't go past 1.3. I would talk with that owner, make a very, very subtle comment like, I don't know if I would ever trade down. I want total control. I love Hampton. I don't know that I could live with myself if I didn't get Hampton. Whatever you end up saying to him, and say, but I would be interested. It would take a lot. I'm not doing this for a second round pick, but if you wanted to give me your 1.3 for my 1.2, what are you going to give me? You're going to upgrade my mediocre quarterback into Mahomes, who he doubts anyways, but I love. Are you going to upgrade my pretty decent running back to Bucky Irving, who he doubts? Are you going to give me my decent running back to Kyron? Are you going to give me a bump from somebody that I like a lot, like Godwin, but question him and you give me a JSN or something along those lines? I'm not taking second rounders. You could give me 5 of them, and I'm not going to swap this for you. I want to make you pay. You're going to pay the price, or you're not going to get the advantage. But I would probably say give me Harvey if you can win now. If you can't win now, it's nice to just sit there and have control. What if Harvey or Hampton gets hurt? You know, what if an injury happens and now you have lesser options at 1.3? So only do it if it makes sense, but I certainly would if it was a massive move. What else you got, Travis? And we'll be back tonight. We'll be here for a little longer, but just making sure everybody knows we'll be back tonight.
Yeah, I had a couple things. One note on Hendy is that I was looking at Ramondre's contract, and next year the dead cap is only $3.25 million to cut him. So, you know, I mean, if he well, they may just keep him too because they have another out. But there's not a lot, you know, separating Hendy from just having that backfield, you know, somewhat to himself. I think they're always going to want someone there because I think he is better in that type role.
Yeah,
people who are worried, I still see people very worried. Stevenson's not going anywhere. They signed him to a long-term deal. Well, they have outs in that deal.
Yeah, it's not really a long-term deal. Henderson's fine, and as you said, they need another running back no matter what. Wouldn't you rather it be a mediocre Stevenson who, before Henderson was drafted onto the Patriots roster, no one respected Stevenson. He wasn't getting drafted high at all. Nobody expected Stevenson to do anything. Thanks again, BBQ and Andy, for the 10 gifted memberships and the 20. Guys, if you got a gifted membership, please thank them. Stevenson's nothing. He's a nothing burger, and I once loved him, and I admit that disappointed how his career went because I thought he could have really bounced back into being a top 5 to 7 running back again for at least another year or two, and he didn't. But it's the Patriots team, and that's partly why Harvey's so much safer. Like the Patriots are going to turn things around. It very much feels like that, but it could be like half a year before it fully gets into a rhythm. And there's still coaching decisions that have to be made to make all that happen. There's just, some disappointment in the initial month of football. So at the end of the day, it's like Harvey's living in an electric environment that from the jump, he could go out and have a top, 7 running back season, whereas Hendy will probably have that. I think he will. He'll at least prorate or extrapolate data will have that. But there's just a little bit more upside for Harvey for a 12, 13 total. What?
NRG in the chat's not listening. He says, it'll be a committee. Ramondre just signed for 4 years.
Oh, okay. Thanks, man. Should we just pull back all the Hendy content now? Or should I just hit end on the live stream? Because I feel embarrassed that I didn't know that. I didn't realize that Henderson wasn't a thing. Let me take him off screen. Hold on. I didn't even realize that. I wish he would have come in the live stream earlier. I wish he would have been here so we didn't have to.
Take a big laugh.
Okay, real quickly, I think I got a phone caller here. 903, you're live. What can I do for you? 4 years. Stevenson.
Back to the topic of best ball and tight end.
Yes, sir.
Man, grabbing Taysom Hill at the back end. I'm not talking about last pick. Taysom Hill.
No.
Was it worth it? Am I missing something?
No, he tore his ACL, bro. He's not going to be ready for the season.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, we've had a big Taysom Hill amount of callers, and I think Justin was even saying that the other day. He's like, Taysom Hill was it Justin? I forget. I'm like, no, Taysom Hill tore his ACL. Yeah, he's not. Let me see. I think wasn't it November that he tore.
Yeah, it flew under the radar for some reason. No, I've noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, could he be ready for? Yeah, but he might not even be on the. You don't know what the role's going to be even. But yeah, there's talk that he won't. Yeah, he's 35 years old, so there's talk about him not being ready for Week 1. Let me just see. Kruger, when did Taysom Hill tear his ACL last year in the 2024 season?
Taysom Hill tore his ACL in Week 9 of the 2024 season. It was a big setback for him and the Saints at that time.
Kruger, what is the current word on Taysom Hill being ready or not ready for the start of the 2025 season? 35. He's 35, so.
Taysom Hill tore his ACL and had additional knee damage last December, which ended his season.
Is it December? You said, okay, go ahead, whatever.
Sure thing. As of now, it's uncertain if he'll be ready for the start of the 2025 season. The recovery timeline is still up in the air, and at 35, there's some doubt about how quickly he can bounce back.
Yeah, he's saying November now, so Kruger's all over the place. I want to say it was really late in the year. November sounds right. Or, sorry, December sounds right. But does anybody have Travis, when did it say he tore it? But anyway, I think, I think that at 35, it's a tall order. Could he come back? Sure, but I don't think they're expecting it. They're not planning on it. He's going to be struggling to hit the hole, and I don't know. I knew it was December, Kruger.
Ooh, later.
Yeah, so it was late. And again, these guys can recover in 6 months if they're young, 7 months. So, has his surgery in January or late December. Probably had it in January, I imagine. Swelling goes down. He had some additional knee trauma, so additional trauma is more swelling. So my guess is he had his surgery in January or something. So you give him 7 months. I mean, could he be back for Week 1, technically speaking? Yeah, but I don't think they're planning on it at 35 is highly unlikely. 35. You talk about 25-year-old running backs having a tough time. 25, 26 is about the cutoff where you're ever the same. He's 35, bro. He's 35. That's crazy. He's the rookie quarterback for the Saints. He's his age. Shuck. I think Shuck's 26, 25. All right. Anything else, bro?
Yeah.
Who's older, Shuck or Taysom?
Man, I've been. Yeah. I just wanted to get a clarification on that. I
Yeah.
keep going like.
Can I?
Smith and then coming back with Kate Auden and then.
Yeah.
Last pick.
Fannin. Take Fannin, bro. Take Fannin, the rookie tight end for the Browns. He was the number one. He was a tight end. Okay, but he had more catches and more yards than any receiver in college football last year. He almost had the triple crown. He was a tight end. So Fannin is the guy you want to look at if you're looking for a last round. Yeah. All right, later, bro.
I'll keep that in mind. Appreciate it, brother. Peace out.
Yeah, I don't Taysom Hill. So many people don't know he tore his ACL. It's wild. What else you got, Travis?
I'm just going to ask, in terms of the rookie running back,
Your phone's cutting out there. Try calling back, Travis. There's a bad connection. Maybe it's even it might even be me, Travis. Let me see if I might need to charge my speaker. That might have been me. My bad. Yeah, try again, Travis. I think it was me. It might have been my speaker. Yeah. That was probably me. All right, phone call. Final phone call or two.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Sorry, Travis. That was probably my phone, not you. Dial in one more time. I'm on the clock in a draft. 15th round. Who do I take, ladies and gentlemen? Pat Bryant, Michael Wilson Jr. Pat Bryant. I like Pat Bryant a lot right now. I'm going to go Pat Bryant. Sorry, Travis. That was my speaker, I think.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Let me know if I sound all right.
Okay, I think it turned off right when I thought it was you. All right, go ahead. What were you saying?
Just in terms of dynasty, the running back, like, the Caleb Johnson, obviously Dylan Sampson, I know you like, but like Caleb Johnson, Devin Neal, different guys that you aren't like extremely high on this year, like you like them down the line in the future as, whether it's an RB2 or a guy that could break into an RB1.
Did you say Dylan Sampson?
I said I know you like Dylan Sampson a lot.
Oh, I thought you included him in the.
He'll be an RB1 this year or like a.
Oh, okay.
Year or not.
Yeah.
If you do, let me know.
So Neil, give me a couple other names. Rashard Smith, maybe.
Rashard Smith. Yep, Rashard Smith. Obviously, Crosby Merritt. I know you like him, but the guys that either aren't necessarily starting right away, or in a situation that like a Caleb Johnson that a little bit cloudy. He should get work, but we don't even know who QB is.
Yeah,
like
Monungai.
Yep, that's a good one.
So, I mean, this is all a very case-by-case, again, situation. There's no way to blanket statement this thing. I mean, Crosby Merritt, his value is so late. There's no reason not to grab him and think Jordan Mason Garendo last year. League winner, might even be a moon man by the end of it all. Love this kid. They like him a lot. He's the rookie running back in Washington for the Commanders, if anybody doesn't know. Tootin fumbled today. Everybody's freaking out. So he's probably going to drop in value. I love Tootin. I think Tootin with, cuffing him to Bigsby is a really good move. I think Bigsby's going to be written off a lot, and I think it's going to be a mistake. I think Bigsby could still be a monster. His metrics are through the roof. One of the best running backs in certain categories of football from last year's data. He's such an eye-popping, rising star potentially in Bigsby. But Tootin with him safeguards that because Tootin's so good himself. Brashard Smith, I like him a lot. I just don't know at what point does he get woven into the offense. The Chiefs system is one of the toughest to learn in the NFL. Devin Neal, if Kamara gets hurt, there's an opportunity, but on a crap team. So I don't know that the efficiency will even be there. Dylan Sampson is going to be a thorn in the side of Judkins more than people want to admit. The people that don't agree with that, they own Judkins. You have to understand what time it is. Nobody that doesn't own Judkins or doesn't plan to own him. They've done so. Maybe they say, I don't have any shares. Yeah, but you're going to. Like, you've been investing and researching and you've decided and locked on based on your draft selection that Judkins is there for you, so you want it to be amazing. I get it. And I'm not saying he won't be good, but Sampson's going to be a thorn in his mother freaking side. And if he gets a hold of the PPR work, which it sounds like he will, and this coming from the team, not just from me, not from my predictions and speculation, the team, Dylan Sampson's going to become a problem. And he's going to make Judkins one-dimensional. And if he gets more work on the ground between the tackles, then he takes away from Judkins, but Judkins not taking away from him, and it's an uneven, divide in distribution. Caleb Johnson, he's sharing with Warren. There's a bigger running back by committee here than in Cleveland. Manungai, I think he has a real shot. He might share with Roshan. Somebody's going to become the Monty in this offense in Chicago, as Ben Johnson is going to try and recreate his thunder and lightning, his Sonic and Knuckles. And at the end of the day, I think that people are going to be very, they're going to assume a lot. People are going to assume a lot that the biggest running back from Ben Johnson's Chicago situation has to be in the same pecking order. Like, Gibbs is better than Monty by a mile. But it could be his Monty's better than his Gibbs in Chicago. So just because Swift is in that Gibbs role doesn't mean Swift's going to be as good as Gibbs. Manungai might end up taking Roshan's job. Roshan could end up flourishing. We liked Roshan a lot as a rookie. Remember that. So don't write him off yet. But Roshan Johnson or Manungai, and I give the edge to Manungai because Roshan had time to do it and he didn't. But I still like him. And he had trouble staying healthy. Manungai might become a huge sleeper this year at some point, like mid-season. So if I had to rank these guys in effectiveness for the current season, I would say probably the most likely to be effective initially, I would probably say Dylan Sampson because of the PPR work. If I had to say, like, later on, emerging out of nowhere, Manungai is a strong bet. Tootin's a strong bet. Krosky Merritt's a strong bet. Brashard Smith, I like a lot. He's definitely in the mix, but this is just like, there's no way to measure any of this. So many variables at play. Variables of coaching decisions and players failing or players getting hurt or just the talent finally shining through, like in the case of Manungai or in Tootin's or Krosky Merritt's. And then we saw a team like Washington not use Ben Sinnott when we knew Ben Sinnott was this potential rising star, and they kept Ertz, and Ertz kept playing well. So you don't know if maybe Pacheco continues to play well all year, then Brashard Smith doesn't get a shot. Or Bigsby plays well all year. Doesn't matter how good Tootin is. He doesn't quite get a shot. Or Judkins catches more passes than I imagine, and Dylan Sampson gets hurt really early on, and then they throw the ball to Judkins, and now they know he can do it all, and Sampson's watching from the sidelines. Same thing with Warren or Caleb. Same thing with Roshan. So it's a great question, but there really is no answer. Based on cost of entry, I think Krosky Merritt's one of the most fun players to own, given that he's completely free. I think Tootin's in the same vein. Dylan Sampson costs a little bit more, but he feels like he's maybe cemented into the most work out of all these guys because the team has already said the sky's the limit for Dylan Sampson's PPR work. So he's probably the safest one on the board. Biggest rags to riches are Tootin and Krosky Merritt and Manungai.
Cool. And then just Caleb Johnson, what's your feeling on? Excuse me. What's your feeling on like his ceiling? If he goes in, he gets all the work, and becomes a starter for the next couple of years. You got RB2. You think he can be an RB1?
I think a fantasy RB2 is certainly in the cards for Caleb Johnson if Warren got injured or they decided to just roll with one guy. But Arthur Smith is a multiple running back player or coach. I think Caleb Johnson, there's just a vanilla offense factor that worries me about him competing with other PPR monster running backs. I don't know. If Warren got hurt, certainly he could be a running back too in fantasy. But that's, hard to predict. I don't really know that there's a lot there to suggest Warren's an injury plague. Like Swift could get hurt easily. Roschon Johnson proved he can't stay healthy. I don't really feel like Warren doesn't feel like an injury-prone guy to me. I know he hasn't really grabbed the job, but he's not being asked to grab the job here. He's being asked to kind of linger and be a PPR threat. And so Caleb to me he's a guy taking best ball a lot when he falls really far, and I'm going light at RB2, and I do take a rotation that involves Caleb once in a while, not every time, but it's intriguing, but he's going to be very one-dimensional. He's in a worse running back by committee by far than Henderson, than than some of these other guys that are in the top 5-6 running back situations.
I appreciate it.
All right, I'll be back tonight, Travis. Appreciate you, bro. See you tonight.
Yep, talk to you later.
Later. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back tonight. Thank you, BBQ. Thank you, Andy, for the gifted memberships. Thank you, BBQ, for the Double $20 haulers. We draft close to the season. Did I even acknowledge that this was a $20 hauler as well, BBQ, or did I just read it like it was a super chat?
Alert. Super chat alert.
So thank you, BBQ, for the Doubles. BBQ with the additional super chat. Hernandez with a super chat. Chrissy for the super chat. B for 3. Fernando, thank you for the super chat. Chrissy for the other one. Luis, appreciate your super chat. Thank you for all the gifted memberships. I'll see you all tonight. We'll be drafting tonight, and we'll have a different topic. Of course, we don't just draft. That's boring. We actually do a whole bunch more on this channel. We do it live. So that means we are probably going to have a topic at hand that we're going to discuss. And the topic at hand tonight will be decided probably a couple minutes before the show. So whether it's a draft strategy specifically that I'd love to have you guys learn to deploy, or just talk one out, see if it's a good one, maybe it won't be. Or are we talking about a specific player like we did tonight, RJ Harvey, MHJ? Well, we kick off the show, the monologue, with an amazing fantasy football take or player hype video, or maybe it's a panic chamber episode, whatever the case may be. Then we draft. We don't just draft. So this is a content show. This is not just a draft show at night at midnight Eastern, but we're live Monday through Friday, every single Monday through Friday. Your boy's live at 8 p.m. Eastern. I also have Dynasty content now on this channel. So we'll be doing Dynasty only live streams on this channel, Dynasty only content on this channel, mixed in with all the other stuff on the channel. Nothing changes, but except for more content on the channel, there will be Dynasty dropped on this channel, not on the Dynasty channel. So expect a lot more content Dynasty related to drop on this channel. The Dynasty channel has been turned into Fantasy Football Unplugged, which is basically going to be a behind the scenes of the show, but with fantasy advice mixed in. Meaning you're going to have a camera angle over here, and I'm talking here about going live over here, and I'm saying, I don't even know what I'm going to say right now. And in one of these things, I was talking, and the TV fell off the wall, and I had to fix that. And so you see the problems and things that go on behind the scenes, but it is fantasy football content and fantasy football advice mixed into the Unplugged day-to-day. Think of it like Dog the Bounty Hunter meets Keeping Up with the Smitties meets something else. So you're going to love it. Stay subscribed to the Dynasty channel, which turned into this channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, go to this channel. I'll drop it in the live chat right now. I'll drop it right now in a second. You can find me on Rumble. We're still going to get Rumble shows eventually going again. We aren't doing anything on that yet, but I promise we're going to. Patreon.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Fantasy Football Show on Spotify and Instagram. On Instagram there, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can find me as The Fantasy Football Show everywhere, even thefantasyfootballshow.com. And then this is the additional channel, Fantasy Football Unplugged. See you all later. Make sure you subscribe. I'll drop this link in the live chat. Here is the Dynasty Unplugged link. Make sure you're subscribed. You will not want to miss episode 1. This is also where the sitcom will air. The Fantasy Football Intern sitcom show will air on that. BBQ, have you watched the sitcom yet? Subscribe to the Unplugged channel. There's the link right there. Everybody wants Miss Smitty to have a segment. Maybe someday. She doesn't really like being on the camera. Dynasty content dropping probably. So anytime, real quickly, anytime we do a Dynasty show, like if I do a Dynasty geared show, it will be on this channel. We're not going to the Dynasty channel to do that anymore. That's going to become the Fantasy Football Unplugged. We're going to literally come in here and do an additional Dynasty live stream. And on my YouTube homepage, I vow to you to make the most organized YouTube homepage you can find with the playlist and the rows. And the second row will probably always remain Dynasty content only. So that's where you'll find Dynasty geared content on my second row of my videos. There'll be the live streams or I think it's gonna be the second row. It'll always be right there at the top. So you'll be able to find all your Dynasty content. But I don't want anybody to think that we'll do less normal content on this channel. We cover everything on this channel, but there will be Dynasty only content on this channel. See you all tonight.